Hey everyone, Monkey Chaos here with a few tips for Fall Guys. Let's jump right into it. First up, we got Whirlygig. There's 2 points in this race. They're pretty key. First is this little jump right here at the beginning. You can actually hold grab to grab onto that ledge and pull yourself up if you don't make the jump. The second part is this ramp here. You're going to want to do a dive right before you get through the blades. You're not trying to dive through the blades, you're just trying to lay down on your stomach so that if the blades do hit you, they don't send you flying, they just kind of push you through. Next up we got tiptoe. Tiptoe is not great, you're just going to want to stay in the middle, stay with the pack, slowly move your way up, let other people clear the way, don't let yourself get pushed in, and then when it comes time, make a jump for the end. You can actually make the jump with that last cube missing, so you don't need to find that last square. Tail tag is terrible. Very often you're going to seem like someone 5 feet from you is pulling your tail off, and it's going to drive you crazy, but it's just something you have to accept. Like the other tail games, you're going to want to cut corners and not just chase right after people. Look to see where they're going to go and try to cut them off, grab the tail, then take off. The slime climb. Slime climb is more of an obstacle course, less of a race. You don't need to finish it quickly. You just need to finish and not fall in the slime. So many people fall in the slime that as long as you cross the finish line, you'll qualify. You don't need to cross it before everybody else because they're all going to be in the slime. So with that in mind, don't bother with the shortcuts. Try to stay out of the crowd. The biggest part where everybody gets pushed in is trying to get past those pushers and they get stuck in a crowd and just get pushed down into the slime. So just take your time, take it easy, and you'll be fine. Seesaw. So there are 2 versions of Seesaw. There is Seesaw when you are in the lead and it's super easy, you just go, there's nothing to worry about. And then there's Seesaw when you're at the back of the pack and it is a disaster. The major thing is when you make the jumps onto the very steep inclines, if you do a dive, you'll actually keep your footing. If you try to just jump on there, you're going to fall off. So do a lot of diving. Just pay attention to where the crowd is going and which way the things are going to move, and take your time again and be fine. Rollout is pretty straightforward. You're just going to want to stay away from the pack, just like a lot of other games, because people can grab you, mess up your jumping, that kind of stuff, which can cause you to fall in. Otherwise, you're just going to run around, look for the biggest path you can stay on without having to change sections, and just keep away from people and stay towards the middle and just wait until everybody falls off. Perfect Match is probably the worst minigame. It's just really boring. You don't need to pay attention even. You can usually just run to the squares where other people are hanging out and you'll be fine. The only thing to look out for is don't stand near the ledges. Make sure no one can grab you and just push you off. Otherwise, it's pretty easy. Jump Club. Jump Club, like a lot of the other games, you want to stay out of the crowd. Don't let people grab you and mess up your jump timing. Otherwise, you want to kind of run around in a circle a little bit to keep an eye on that green column to make sure that when it gets near you, it's not lined up so that you can't actually jump over it. Other than that, you should be fine. I could not actually get Jinxed to queue up for me, no matter how hard I tried, so could not get a video of it for this video. But the fastest way for you to contribute to your team if you're not Jinxed is actually just to get yourself Jinxed as fast as you can, and then go out and just do all the work of jinxing the other teams. Otherwise, you're just going to be standing there and, again, it's, am I on a good team or a bad team? That at least lets you take control and try to do something. Hit Parade. Hit Parade's a pretty straightforward race. The only tricky part is these windmill things here. You're just going to want to keep an eye on the crowd and figure out which way things are going to move based on that and move along with it. And also this little moving thing here, it actually opens on both sides, so if it's closed in the middle, you can actually duck around to the side. A lot of people don't notice that, and everybody gets hung up trying to get through the middle. Gate Crash is another really straightforward one. The only tricky part is at the end. If you don't time that jump right, you're going to smack into it and fall and have to do it over again. So just make sure that you line up so that when you hit the bottom of that ramp, you're going to be able to jump over, and then use the jump and the dive to make sure you clear it. Fruit Chute. Fruit Chute is one of my favorites. The easiest way to get to the top, you want to stick to the sides. You can use those little half pyramids to duck behind and block the fruit if it's coming right at you. If you're in the middle, you're just going to get hit by whatever, and there's not a lot you can do. So stick to the sides and you should have the easiest path up to the top. For DoorDash, you're going to want to stay kind of towards the middle of the pack. You don't want to be at the back, but you also don't really want to be up the front, because if you guess wrong, you're going to fall behind. Let other people smash the doors open with their faces, and you can just follow in behind them. If there's a pile up, just try to jump and dive to get past it, and that last jump at the end, do a little dive to get you a little distance in front of everybody else. Dizzy Heights. Dizzy Heights is really straightforward, just a race. There's not really anything tricky to it, just as usual, kind of be mindful of the crowds. If you're jumping onto a platform, try to jump to where there's an opening and not so that you're going to crash into someone's backside and just fall down. Block Party, again, you're going to keep away from other people so they don't mess up your jumping as much as you can. You're kind of crammed, so there's not much of a choice. Anytime that you're forced to go to the far left or the far right, as soon as you make the jump, you're going to want to start running in the opposite direction so that you're ready for the platform over there. And when you're at these little blocks in the middle, you just want to move so that you just clear it so that you can immediately start running the other way. If you go too far, then you're going to get caught in the crowd and you're going to get stuck and not be able to move. Team tail tag's another one of those. Am I on the winning team or the losing team? Especially this one, because the most you can contribute is one tail, and it's not a lot more you can do than that. So if you don't have a tail, cut corners, don't chase directly after people, cut them off and get your tail. And then find a good spot to hang out. Near the hammers is good. There's the one that spins clockwise, and then there's the vertical ones. Either one of those you can hide behind in a way that people can't get at you right away, and you'll be able to see them coming. Rock and roll. So rock and roll, like a couple of these team games, you're going to want to see what your teammates are doing. So at the beginning, everybody should just be pushing. If you're running off to just go mess with the other team right off the bat, you're going to be waiting around for them to make the push. So help your team push. And especially make sure that you actually push the ball over the ledge before you go running off, because otherwise it gets stuck, which is not great. And then, yeah, look to see what your team's doing. If everybody's pushing the ball, then maybe you can peel off and go try to mess with the other teams. But if, 4 people ran off to go mess with the other teams, you need to stick with your ball and try to get it down the ramp. Hoopsie Daisy. So Hoopsie Daisy, you're going to want to kind of carve off a piece of the field for yourself. Look around, see where there's not a lot of competition, and just stay in that general area and just make every hoop in that area yours. For these ones that are in a weird spot, you're going to want to jump and then do your dive about halfway down, and that's how you get through those. But otherwise, just, try to find the spot where you're going to have the least competition and be able to contribute the most to your team. Hoarders is another team one, much like Egg Scramble, which we'll get to in a bit, where you want to pick on whoever is the losing team. So if, blue has 2 balls and red has 3 balls and yellow has 1 ball, you want to go after yellow's ball. You want to make sure because you're not trying to win, you're just trying not to lose. And the easiest way to do that is to make sure that the people that are losing lose even harder. And with pushing the balls, if they're bouncing and you can catch them with a header, you'll get a lot of air on that. I haven't noticed a difference between just normal jumping and dive jumping. So when possible, just do a normal jump. The dive is really only good for trying to cover a little extra distance, but most of the time, just a normal jump will do it. Fall ball, like the other team games, you're really going to want to pay attention to what your team is doing. If everybody's on offense and nobody's on defense, you might want to pull back and play some defense. And if there's too many people on defense, then you're going to want to push forward and go on offense. Other than that, the really key thing to fall ball is being in the middle for when the ball drops. So after someone scores, another ball is dropped down in the middle, and if you catch it just right on your head with a jump as it's falling down, you can send it flying pretty much straight into the opposing goal, in which case another ball will drop and you can just chain them together. So that is the biggest thing you want to try to do, or at the very least stop the opposing team from doing in fall ball to get the win. Egg Scramble. So again, you're going to want to make sure that your team is not the last place team. So whichever team is in last place, you're going to run and go take all of their eggs. And much like a lot of the other team games, you need to pay attention to what your team is doing. If nobody's playing defense on your base, then maybe you're just going to stick around and try to keep people from jumping up and taking your eggs. So you just stand on the little platform and don't let them jump up, grab onto them, do whatever you need to do. If, however, your base is just full of your team, then you can run off and go steal other eggs. Royal Fumble. So Royal Fumble is my least favorite of the end game games. Just like the other tail stuff, you want to not chase directly after people. You want to cut corners, cut them off, get that tail, and then run around in such a way that people can't cut you off. So try to be unpredictable. Use the spinning platforms to get a little distance, and make sure that you don't count on the match ending at 0, because it takes just a little longer and you can lose your tail like that. Hex-a-gone's probably my favorite game of the bunch. It's all about staying up top. So you want to stay on as high a level as long as you can. So take your time. If you do fall down, you change it up a little bit. You want to run around and clear as many hexagons as you can to make it easier for the people above you to just fall straight through, so that you end up still being above them. So you're going to run around, clear a bunch of hexagons, and then once you get down to, you know, a smaller sliver, then you move real slowly, and then as you go, be aware of what's below you and plan out for where you're going to fall to, because if you fall through a bunch of layers, you can definitely fall behind. But so once you're up top, then you just take your time, hexagon by hexagon, because sometimes it just comes down to the very last split second. Fall Mountain is a super straightforward, just short race to the top. The only tricky part is at the end. You want to make sure you time your jump right. If the crown looks too high and out of reach, don't try to force it. You just have to wait, be patient, and then make the jump when you feel like you're going to actually land it. A lot of people will get to the top and just go for it, and then they end up losing. So be patient and you'll get it. Alright guys, like I said, I'm Monkey of Chaos. Thanks for tuning in. If this was helpful at all, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. Jump in the comments, let me know what other kind of videos you'd like to see like this, and I'll catch everybody on Fall Mountain. Later.